All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you. And the first thing that I got is quite saucy indeed. And most of you may have already heard about this, as this is sort of a late video today. But for those of you who haven't, the Tether situation, it's been a long debate. Is Tether actually backed by all of the US dollar that they say it is? And did it actually pump 2017's prices? Yada yada. Well, the answer to the first question is, well, no, it's not. Now they admit it's not actually entirely backed by US dollar. So Tether has updated the terms on its website, saying that its dollar pegged USDT stablecoin may not be 100% by fiat reserves backed by it. It's not 100%. The new text states that while its stablecoin is 100% backed, its reserves may at times include other assets. So every Tether is always 100% backed by our reserves, which include traditional currency and cash equivalents, and from time to time may include other assets and receivables from loans made by Tether to third parties, which may include affiliated entities, collectively reserves. So they were basically lying for a very long time, because on the Tether website it says that it's 100% backed by US dollar in a 1-to-1 ratio, and now they say not entirely 100% backed by US dollar. Some of it is just loans, so basically fake stuff. So I like to imagine a vault now, and now that you go in, you open the door of the vault and you go in there, and there's like 3 lamps, there's an old Ford Tempo, like 16 boxes of Cheez-Its and an IOU for $11 cash in there. And they say, you know what? We got reserves now. Better print up 1,000,000 Tether, because we got reserves, right? We could sell that Ford Tempo for at least $600, right? However, Tether's previous terms, as seen on the Internet Archive in mid-February, indicate full fiat backing, as I said. So every Tether is backed 1-to-1 by traditional currency held in our reserves. So $1 US is always equivalent to $1 US. So 1 USDT is equivalent to $1 US. So Tether has been seen at the center of questions over whether the firm has sufficient reserves to back its $1.9 billion US in Tether circulation, although one report suggested it did, at least during specific time windows. Just specific time windows. So like once in a while it's backed by total, it just other times not really. So last December, Bloomberg News reported it has seen Tether bank statements indicating that over 4 separate months at least, the company held sufficient dollars to back the US dollar, the Tether tokens on the market. So now there is big controversy out there, and you can head on over to like CoinMarketCap here, and you can see this weird movement now. And this is about when the Tether situation was announced, and it caused a huge kerfuffle on like Bitfinex and such, that there was this massive buy and massive sell shadow, something like I don't think I've ever seen. It doesn't really show it too well on here, but if you look on whatever your favorite or preferred exchange is, you will see what I'm talking about. There's this massive shadow up and down, and I think it was from this Tether problem. And now we might start seeing a breakdown of Tether after this, because now it's official. For well over a year now, people, including the Bitfinex, Twitter, and everybody else under the sun, and articles stating, questioning Tether, and they're all true. It's not entirely always backed by U.S. dollars. So what Tether says is that sometimes it's backed by totally U.S. dollar, other times it's just loans and stuff. So basically, they don't have it. They just say they might have $1 billion, and the rest of the 900 million might be in loans. So no, they don't have it until they actually get those loans back. It doesn't exist. This is actually worse than the fiat fractional banking system that we see today. At the very least, banks have that based, and they can give out loans based on what they have, and not necessarily just completely out of thin air. Tether is now officially completely out of thin air. So we're going to see more of this here real soon, and it's going to start to become a big problem. So moving on to the next article here, altcoins are trending on Google, and when Bitcoin was at its all-time high, it was trending on when Bitcoin was at its all-time high, it was trending on Google as well. It had an incredible amount of searches, and then as the price went down, the searches went down. So the latest confirmation comes from data collected by Google, which shows that the topic altcoins is now trending. Altcoins defined by any crypto asset that isn't Bitcoin. So Google's data search includes terms such as Litecoin, Ethereum, XRP within the broader topic. So Bitcoin is still by far the dominant player in the crypto industry. In fact, if you use the same Google Trends tool to compare Bitcoin with alts, altcoin is just a flat line. Bitcoin also leads by market share, currently with 51% of the total market cap. The results of a recent Twitter poll also showed that 90% of participants believe that investors should hold some level of BTC, and a whopping 42% saying that this level should be around only 70%. So, now that altcoins are trending a little bit more, we might see a little bit more of a break in terms of altcoin price, as opposed to Bitcoin. And we might actually start seeing more people buying into altcoins than Bitcoin, and not necessarily Bitcoin raising the price of everything. So it's quite interesting. Another thing today is that Stellar was now released on Coinbase Pro, and of course, now I don't have the article up for that, as I just kind of remembered it. And of course, there was a big pump of Stellar just before that. So there's always this big pump of a coin several days before it's added to Coinbase, and that's just more allegations of insider trading on Coinbase. It just seems like that's always the case, just a few days before it's actually added, before they even announce that it's added. And they always ninja add Stellar, ninja add this coin or that coin. And that we've seen this rise in price. So now it becomes pretty clear why Stellar was raising in price. It's probably because of the insider trading with Coinbase at this point. And now I hardly can even doubt this. It happened with Bitcoin Cash. It happened with basically every coin that has ever been added to Coinbase since Bitcoin Cash. And actually with Litecoin as well. Litecoin used to not be on Coinbase, and nobody really traded Litecoin, and Litecoin's price wasn't going anywhere. And then days before it actually got added to Coinbase, because Charlie Lee was an engineer at Coinbase, the price went through the roof, and then it's been going up essentially ever since, unless you count the total dip of the bear market from the all-time high, but we're not counting that, right? So either way, virtually every coin that's ever been added to Coinbase has pumped before it gets added to Coinbase. So, not surprising. So moving on, bakkt competitor CoinFlex sees investments from Polychain and digital currency groups. So somebody made it to the show before bakkt did. Bakkt is a futures exchange that was coming out that has a lot of hype because it was trading actual Bitcoin. So Bitcoin traded futures instead of just money, instead of just fiat, instead of just basically paper Bitcoin trading. So CoinFlex presents itself as the world's physically delivered cryptocurrency futures exchange. According to a press release, the platform has managed to attract either way, two more high-profile investors in the face of Barry Silbert's digital currency group and Polychain Capital. They've joined a consortium of other investors in the project, including Dragonfly Capital Partners, Roger Ver, and Trading Technology. So, not a big fan of Roger Ver, but either way. So, per the same release, the platform has introduced its very own Flex coin, which is a token designed to promote liquidity and reward early trading activity. So, not too big of a fan of Flex coin. Don't really care. Not promoting that. But so it does seem that CoinFlex is sort of first into the actual physically delivered cryptocurrencies future exchange. So they beat bakkt, although I think when bakkt comes out, it will produce more of effect than so far CoinFlex has, which is honestly basically nothing at the moment. But so far, so good in terms of the institutional investments of Bitcoin on the rise. So another article here, late Quadriga CEO used personal funds to fulfill withdrawals. So more information on Quadriga is coming out. So Jennifer Robertson, the widow of Quadriga CX CEO Jerry Cotton, has or is it Gerald? I think it's Gerald Cotton. I don't know what Jerry Cotton. Either way, has revealed that customer withdrawals were processed using personal funds in a statement published yesterday. The document also indicates a law firm, Stewart McKelvey, has withdrawn from representing Quadriga CX during the company's creditors arraignment act process due to potential conflicts of interest. So the widow of Quadriga's late CEO published a statement on March 13th that provides an update on the legal proceedings around the exchange. The statement reveals that Gerald Gerald Cotton was using personal funds to fulfill customer withdrawals during 2018, while the exchange's funds held with the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce continued to be frozen. So he's actually just taking his own funds, or whatever, or the funds that were on the exchange itself, and giving them back and giving them out to customers. So apparently his personal funds. So whether that's to be believed or not, so he says, while I had no direct knowledge of how Gerald operated the business, he told me that he had been putting his own money back into QCX to fund user withdrawals in 2018, while the CIBC money remained frozen, she said, adding, I believe Gerald had the best interest of the business in mind and cared for his customers. Well, that's going to be hard to say, and of course that's easy for her to say when he was basically running it on a laptop, and now it's all missing, and hundreds of thousands go to his chihuahuas, and he goes off to India and possibly fakes his own death, or maybe he did die, who knows at this point. So interesting news, interesting thing to come out of it, that he was giving out his own money in order to pay customers, which he certainly wouldn't have lasted forever, as they were having problems with banks and things like that beforehand, which probably would have been nice to let your customers know those problems beforehand. So CBOE Exchange puts brakes on Bitcoin futures listings. So one of the things that I think destroyed the all-time high of Bitcoin, among a lot of things, BitConnect went down after the all-time high. So it wasn't necessarily BitConnect, but it was a lot of things in 2017 that raised the price exponentially. We went from $1,000 at the beginning of January 2017 to $20,000 at the end, which was just way too high. There was so much hype. Every YouTuber promoting referral links of BitConnect and Genesis Mining and any Ponzi scheme referral link they could possibly get their hands on. Everybody knew that as soon as you bought in, you just wait a few days and Bitcoin is up another $1,000 and you just made a ton of money. So it wasn't surprising that the price went down. However, CBOE Futures Exchange listed Bitcoin on December 17th. And on December 18th is when we started to see the super decline of the all-time high of Bitcoin. Quite the coincidence indeed. So it was quite the time to short Bitcoin. If you were an investor and you've seen how hyperbolic the chart was, obviously it was a great time to short Bitcoin. And I think that mentality really dragged the price down, even though they weren't, physically delivered futures. And it is quite weird that they listed it right the day before that Bitcoin started to go down. CBOE Futures also, I made a video almost a year ago now about the rest of their commodities, or their listings, if you will, as well, like silver, uranium, gold. All of them dumped literally days after CBOE Futures listed them. So it's like they purposely list a particular product at a particular time, when it's at its all-time high. If you look at the charts and it's going like this, then they list it right at the top so that everybody knows to short it. There's no confusion at that point. There's no maybe I should long this and continue its rise. No, obviously any good investor in terms of futures is going to short this and make a lot of money doing it. So CBOE Futures is putting its Bitcoin futures market on hold. Thank God. The unit of CBOE Global Markets said Thursday that it would not add a new Bitcoin futures market for March, citing a need to review how it approaches the space. Yeah, you don't need to approach it anymore after you completely destroyed it, and now you can't short it or long it properly. So CFE is not adding Bitcoin futures contract for March 2019, they say. The futures exchange said in a notice to traders. So they said CFE is assessing its approach in respect to how it plans to continue to offer digital asset derivatives for trading. So apparently they're not good enough to know if Bitcoin is going to go up in price or down in price, unless it's at its all-time high, when you know with like 90% greater certainty that you can start shorting it and make a lot of money. They say while it considers its next step, CFE does not currently intend to list additional XBT futures contracts for trading. So, oh no, what a big problem we got here. Now there's no more paper futures trading on Bitcoin, which makes no sense as the antithesis of Bitcoin itself. Oh no, whatever are we going to do? Moving on. to coin market cap, $135 billion market cap, an average of $3,919 Bitcoin price, although I've seen this on some exchanges not quite that high at the moment. But we are seeing quite a bit of green. Overall, things are looking pretty wacky. Bitcoin Cash going way up out of nowhere because apparently they've lost their spot. So now it's time to pump in a bunch of millions, so it makes it look like it's an actual coin that people use. Good plan, Bitcoin Cash, right? You know, like you go down and you're like, oh, we'll take our millions and we'll pump it into it and we'll put it back into the number 4 spot so that it makes our coin look like it's actually good. So that, like, actually people are using it, right? Because we got our like 4,000 gigabyte blocks, you know what I mean? We got our 4 terabyte blocks just in case the entire planet decides to use Bitcoin Cash at once. Same with Bitcoin SV, those 128 megabyte blocks, just in case the entire planet and universe decide to use Bitcoin SV of all of the coins that you could possibly use. Why not Bitcoin SV or Bitcoin Cash? Sure. No, that's going to make a lot of sense. Winner of the day, cute 'em. Digitex Futures, NEM, and loser Wax. But that's all I have for you guys today. So again, the Tether thing is pretty big. So that basically confirms what a lot of people have been saying for well over a year now, and tweeting over and over, and articles over and over, and which I have put on my channel over and over, that the Tether is completely questionable. Do they have it? Is it just pumping the market? Are they just printing it out of nowhere? And pretty much they do. So they're just printing things, and if they have a loan, they don't even know if they're going to get paid to that loan. They could give out $1 billion loan, and they're like, yeah, no, we'll just print $1 billion in Tether now. We don't actually have that, but if we get paid back, then we will, right? So it's a total scam. It may have been what has pumped the Bitcoin price in 2017, along with, of course, all of the Ponzi schemes that were just incredibly lucrative while they lasted. Of course, everybody was just buying into Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin, BitConnect, and buying into Genesis Mining and just raking in the money everywhere. Of course, everybody was just piling money into crypto. And then at the same time, we had Tethered. You could see when they would issue millions or millions, tens of millions of dollars worth of Tether at a time. And then it was days later the price of Bitcoin would pump, and then the price of Bitcoin would go down. They'd issue millions upon millions of dollars of Tether. The Bitcoin price would go up. It's quite the correlation when you take a look at when Tether was actually issued and when Bitcoin goes back up in price. Quite the correlation indeed. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps me out a lot. My social media in the description below. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.